fam. How about y'all come on in and let's have us another visit here on The Humble Show. I am Grant Fletcher, being joined as always by my co-hosts Moonbeam Hallows and Brandon Cox. Here we are, everybody. How are we? How do we feel, everyone?
Hey, doing cool.
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah?
Brandon, you're going through space, like for real.
I mean, whenever you think about it, we all are going through space.
We're all in a speck of dust going through outer space, right? Yeah, Brandon is, if you're watching us on YouTube, he's got some kind of space effect. Hold on, let me full screen you here so we can see. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Brandon, did you know you got that going?
I don't know if you did this. I don't know if I did this. Can you see it on your camera?
I'm not wearing my glasses.
He can't see.
Like I can't let the people at home think I'm some sort of nerd.
Yeah. Sorry, as I clear my throat right into the microphone. That was poor form.
No,
there's some kind of effect on you or whatever. It's fun. I'm gonna keep it. I think it's fun.
It is cute.
So we were talking a little bit. So Brandon, what is this earthquake thing you're drinking? What is that?
Let's hope that let's upload this hashtag earthquake.
Okay.
Earthquake is a malted beverage.
All right.
It's I'd say it's good for the kids, but I think that it would in fact hurt children to drink.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with it if that were the case.
Might
for
make
sure.
them drunk.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not good. Hey,
No.
Last week we were talking about people who just either dipped out or got weird with it towards the end of their career.
Yeah.
Or after they got successful and then they were like, you know what, I'm just going to either, do my own thing for a little while or I'm just going to do whatever I feel like. I'm just going to get weird with it.
Yeah.
And Moonbeam said nothing was coming to mind, but you said earlier that you thought of something.
No, actually, I was talking about this week's homework.
Oh, you're talking about this week's homework.
Based on last week's homework.
Okay.
So I will tell you,
yeah.
I thought about it a little bit during the week, and I was thinking that I haven't seen old Parker Lewis Can't Lose in a while. So I don't know what happened to that guy.
Yeah, what happened
Moonbeam,
to that guy?
can I give you a bit of a layup?
I wish you would.
Tell us about your boy Crispin Glover.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry, I just got a thing across the screen that my internet was unstable.
Well,
what do you mean, my buddy Crispin Glover? You talking about my cat can eat a whole watermelon?
Yeah, like he was, I don't know if he did much prior to Back to the Future, but I mean, he had I think he got weird with it faster than most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, besides, because he did. He was a real weirdo in the Charlie's Angels. The hair sniffing guy, and then he did Willard, which I thought Willard was fantastic. But I didn't think he was any weirder than anything else that he's done. But I love Crispin Glover. I think he's just been a steady case of weirdo. His entire.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, like right, like again, like we talked about it. Like once you've done Back to the Future, what else do you really need to do to survive? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the first Back to the Future because that wasn't him in the second one. That
right.
He got sued for having his likeness.
Yeah. True enough.
I think that's the story there. But he was. What was the movie, Brandon? That where he's like, I'm making my lunch. Where he's just like gets up in the middle.
Oh, that's Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. Okay, I thought it was. I knew it was some kind of David Lynch movie, but I didn't know if it was. Yeah, that was the only David Lynch movie that he was in, right?
I do believe so. Yeah, which is peculiar because he seems like such a shoo-in for a David Lynch regular.
Yeah, I feel like he could be.
Yeah, seems like the type. He did that. He was also, I think the Knave of Hearts or whatever in the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
He was like the Queen's. It was fine. Didn't really didn't blow the lid off anything. Didn't really set any standards. It was just Tim Burton being Tim Burton, and a very Tim Burton type of setting too. You know what I mean? So it was okay.
to backtrack a little bit, did either of you on social media about 2 or 3 weeks back see the message from David Lynch, like, big things are happening, pay attention? And like, it's like, oh man, I'm stoked for this. I think it was like June the 6th. He's like, all right, pay attention. And of course, like June 6th rolls around, and no shade on him, but I mean, the announcement was, I did a musical album with White Lady.
Oh.
And that was the announcement.
Brandon, one point in time, we like pressed stop on the recording, and you read us some like piece that David Lynch had written in his voice about like a Woody the Woodpecker.
He saved like 6 Woody the Woodpeckers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's
and
what
then like he was asked something along the lines of like, whatever happened to those guys? Did you still have those guys? And he was like, no, they turned bad.
Yeah, he went on and on about how important these things were to him and how he just had to buy them and had to, save them from this shop. And then he was like, yeah, I don't have them anymore.
Dude, like,
of course.
I love him so much because like one of the main reasons why he was in a Steven Spielberg like I don't know if it's pronounced biopic or biopic, but he was in one of those within the past. Huh?
I think it's biopic.
I think so too, but within the last year or two, he was playing a director. I think his name was Henry Ford, and the main reason why he agreed to be part of this film was because he was allowed to put Cheetos on the rider. And like he just goes on for like a paragraph talking about his love for Cheetos. And man, that is a man after my own heart. I've agreed to do a lot of things for snacks.
Yeah.
He was playing a director, like a director that's been around the bend.
I think that
probably John Ford. Henry Ford was the Ford automotive guy.
Yeah, so who's the other Ford?
John Ford.
John Ford. It's
Harrison was the other Ford you're thinking of.
Yeah, movies with the big landscape.
David Lynch played Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's right.
May want to Google that.
Yeah,
but
I would have. I do some things for Flamin' Hot Cheetos, that's for sure. But
absolutely.
But did y'all know? Okay, so there's this guy who they made a movie about him, about this guy who created the formula for Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I saw it.
Made a movie and everything. Turns out, totally made up. A total lie.
Good.
Honestly, and he even still like books speaking appearances and things like that based on the lie that he invented Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I enjoy that. I mean, I think all of the best films like took a pre-established idea, whether it be grounded in reality or not, and then just completely did its own thing. I think that the film Oh Brother Where Art Thou was a little not overrated, but it's a little over talked about, especially in the South. But I love that the Coen brothers were just like, yeah, it's based off the Odyssey. We never read it.
Right.
But it's it's based off the Odyssey.
We just know all the major beats, but we don't we don't know anything about a Cyclops or anything like that.
What else do you need? Like John Goodman was the Cyclops, the Bible salesman with the
yeah.
I mean, it was close enough. What do you want?
Yeah,
I think same thing with it's not overrated at all. I think it's one of their greatest achievements.
It's great, but like if you ask anybody in the South, they're like, hey, and I know this is kind of a pretentious move, but just like, hey, do you like that movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou? And they're like, yeah, it's one of my favorites. And then you're like, hey, have you start listing off of 100 Coen Brothers films that did even better than that? Like, hey, have you seen any of these? And they're like, no, why would I ever watch any of those?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're stupid.
But Kubrick did the same thing. Kubrick would take source material and make people who wrote the source material absolutely furious.
Yeah.
It's a good thing Homer's been dead a minute.
True enough. Yeah.
Good thing Homer was Likely not even just one person.
I'm of the mind that once you put something out there into the public, it doesn't quite belong to you anymore in a sense. You know what I mean? Like you might have some kind of like licensing rights and things like that to it. But like, once you have given it out to the public for their consumption, the public's going to do with it what they will.
Yeah.
And you just have to be comfortable with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You resign that fact.
Yeah. We were talking, I had a little bit of an aside this week, and we talked a little bit about it because, there have been a lot of instances where, like, there's been a really successful movie, and then they launch a TV series, and the TV series is very successful, too. You could say Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of those. There's a lot of cartoon shows that you could cite there, too. There's a Beetlejuice cartoon that did very well. For a little while there. I mean, there's a lot of really good examples of movies that they spun off a TV show, and it did pretty well, right?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Did that have a TV series?
It had an animated TV series.
Oh, yeah.
Like a half a decade after the movie.
And so that's really the topic here is that, sometimes they do a TV series and people just forget that there even was a TV series for a show. Case in point, I was talking about this the other day. Clerks, the animated series.
Excellent series.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was great. It was only, how many episodes did that get? It was like less than 10, I think.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a fun show, nonetheless. Yeah, 6 episodes total for Clerks, the animated series.
I don't even think all 6 of them aired until I don't think people got to see all 6 of them until it hit DVD.
Yeah, and I think Adult Swim picked it up at some point in time, and that's whenever a lot of people became aware that it even existed.
There's something to be said about adapting a very hard rated R film.
Oh, for sure.
For TV and it actually working because they got rid of all the drug references, they got rid of all of the harsh language, and they made it work. Like the last episode of that series is timeless. It was the pinnacle of like pre-meme, like mid 2000s internet culture.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it like a court situation?
Yeah. You had Judge Reinhold presiding.
Yeah,
that's right.
But then not the only time that Judge Reinhold has played a judge either.
Yeah. You had an instance. I remember because we're all a bit grizzled here. I distinctly remember. Oh my God, who's driving? Oh my God, Bear is driving. How can that be?
How can that be?
That was like there was nothing funnier in like 2004. Like that was like once again like pre-meme culture, pre-meme humor was just it was where it's at.
That was also that same episode too, where like they're doing this sequence where there's some people in a car, and the car transforms into a robot, a la Transformers, and then back into a car, and then you just hear them scream, and blood like shoots out from all the seams of this car as they're just
it's so good
mangled inside of this machine that's morphing back into a car. So, and it's such a quick, like, just, I don't know, it's just ridiculous, funny kind of thing, but it was really good. So I don't know. I mean, did y'all come up with any, other than Clerks, the animated series, did we come up with any short-lived TV series that did not track the way that the studio might have wanted them to?
Moonbeam, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I was thinking about it, and a couple of years ago, there was a Damien series that came out.
I remember
that. It was just one season long, and it's obviously it's the based on the movie The Omen, and I guess it's like legitimately like got approved by everybody involved because it's got clips from like the movie with Gregory Peck, the original. It's got clips from that in it, but I don't know. I didn't care for it a whole lot. I mean, it's okay. It's got Barbara Hershey in it. It's got the guy that played Arthur from not Sam Neill, oddly enough, who was also Damien in The Omen 3.
Yeah.
But the guy that played Arthur in Merlin. But anyway, it's okay, but it's short-lived for a reason. I guess they, took it as far as they could. It's basically like the Antichrist, or Damien's basically a hero.
Yeah.
And like it's forgotten that he's the Antichrist. It's real bizarre. Like it's kind of out of left field. Like I don't know. It did. I didn't finish it, but I caught a couple episodes. And
it almost sounds like they were trying to jump on the popularity of the Bates Motel series. That was supposed to be like the prequel to Psycho, because that one did run for a while and it was pretty popular.
That one was pretty good. And and it wasn't that they just had like trash acting in it, because it didn't. It had I think his name was Scott Wilson. He passed away a few years ago. He was in The Walking Dead. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He was in it. Barbara Hershey, like I said. And the acting is superb. The music's really good. It looks really good. It's just it just ain't it. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was also kind of like a trend for a little while too. I think Maleficent came out, and like we said, Bates Motel and whatnot, to try and like
Exorcist. There was an Exorcist series that came out.
Just things like that to try and like retell like stories from the villain perspective, and try and like paint the villain in a better light. Joker, that was another example of that happening as well. That really went on for a few years there. And I think it's an interesting concept. I don't think you can carry that concept as far as they wanted to carry that concept. And that's probably why the show didn't work out. There's just so many people had already done it.
Yeah, and it was a total disconnect from the movies. Yeah.
And that's, it's a series with a very hardcore fandom. I mean, Number of the Beast was written after Bruce Dickinson had what's his name? Steve Harris had nightmares about watching The Omen 2. So, very much in the cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? Cultural psyche, I guess. Not really what the word I'm looking for, but sure, that's what I'm going to go with. Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned Sam Neill and Merlin. See, when you said Merlin, I thought of there was a series in the there was a longer like an ongoing series of Merlin, but there was a mini series of Merlin in the 90s where Sam Neill played Merlin.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what you were talking about, because I was like, oh, the one with Sam Neill, and you were like, well, that's interesting you say Sam Neill. But no, that's anyway what I was going with.
He also played Damien Thorne.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, I think the best. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I really like what Good Omens did with the Antichrist situation.
Oh.
I think that's probably the best Antichrist show going right now.
You know what? I liked it, and I didn't like continue it after season 2. I think it went away in between seasons, and I forgot about it. And I never.
Yeah, I didn't watch it after season 1, but
but I liked it. It's just what happens sometimes when a show takes a break.
Brandon,
you said you had something come to mind.
Yeah, I have two things. I had two things that came to mind. One of them is going to be basically an amendment of what I had said in a previous episode, because I was just coming off the top of my head. And here's the thing: I'm still probably going to get some things wrong, but hey, it's okay. I don't see any cops around; they're not going to stop me. So I think I mentioned this in a previous episode. I think one that Moonbeam was not in, but in the contract that was written up for the film Blazing Saddles, which was a cultural milestone, huge success at the time, it was written in the contract that a sequel could not be filmed for 5 years. So in order to retain, Mel Brooks wrote this in basically like, okay, well, the rights are going to expire in 5 years anyway. You can't do a sequel. Why would you ever do a sequel? I don't want to do a sequel.
Yeah.
So the studio was like, all right, yeah, we'll make do with this. And the studio created, let me make sure I get this correct. Yes, the series was called Black Bart. They made a Blazing Saddles TV series, and let me try to. don't know why I can't get this back up. Anyway, they made a Blazing Saddles TV series, and here's the kicker: they never aired it. They made 4 seasons of this show, 20 plus episodes of Black Bart, and as far as I know, the only episode that is available for the public to watch is the pilot. People went to work for presumably years. They made sets, they did makeup, they did designs, they acted, they produced, they directed, only for nobody to ever see it.
That's wild. And it's funny, it's not the only time it's ever happened either.
Really?
There's that fabled Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
That Fox made that they were like, we don't want
for those sorts of movies that are made in order to solely preserve the rights. But hey, I don't know that term. There is a Blazing Saddles TV series that no one will ever see, and from what I understand, from what people thought of the pilot, thank God no one will ever see it. No one reprised their roles. It's all a new cast. Nobody has the charisma that any of the original actors had. It's just So that's my first one. My second one is so you had a lot of like, maybe not unlikely, but not fantastic TV adaptations of late 80s films that really fell flat. Okay. Like the one notorious one I think amongst a lot of people is the Ferris Bueller series.
You took mine or one of mine.
Notorious clunker. I think whoever was behind it actually went on to do bigger and better things. Good for him. I think that was like his first break in the business, and thank goodness he wasn't tossed aside. But here's one that people may or may not know about. There was a Harry and the Hendersons television series.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And from the clips I've seen, once again, another clunker. It does not match the pacing, the humor, the dynamics, the charisma of the original film. Like the original film, I feel is a gem. I feel is an amazing film.
Just reminded me, I need to show that to my daughter.
Yeah, good. It's a very cozy, but like hilarious movie. Grant or Moonbeam, let me do a little impromptu trivia. Do you know how many seasons Harry and the Hendersons got?
Oh man, you're saying this as if it got like a surprising amount. So I'm gonna say, let's say 3.
Yes, it got 3.
Wow, that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought that it made a whole season. If you hadn't asked me that question, I would have said, "Oh, it made it like a half order, like 13 episodes."
Yeah.
3
seasons.
And it seems like, because the thing about it is too, whenever you have like someone wearing a suit and you've got to facilitate for that on set, like oftentimes you've seen shows get canceled because they might be successful, but the studio just decides like, well, it's too expensive to produce this, and we're not making as much versus what we're spending on it, so we're just going to cancel it. So you would think that before the 3rd season, they would have been like, okay, this show is too expensive for what it is, and so we're going to cancel it.
So the TV suit was much simpler.
I'm sure it was. Yeah,
it looked like garbage. And I guess I didn't really have a point in bringing all this up, but I will say that people rightfully complain about how, especially like Netflix is loaded down with just an endless amount of shows that no one has ever heard of, but like Netflix has produced and made a season or 2 or 3 or 4 of it.
Yeah.
Just to prove to shareholders, like, look, like, and the thing about all these streaming shows, if somebody accidentally watches it for a split second, that's a watch.
Right.
That is a watch. If like, I heard that like Amazon counts like hovering over the thumbnail and the clip starting to play, they count that as a watch. So like they can tell shareholders like, oh, look at how many millions of people watch this horse crap that we put out.
They're juicing the numbers, man.
They're juicing numbers, but anyway, that's all beside the point. Like people, go on and on and about, how there's so many series out there, and they have God knows how many seasons. They're like, oh man, back in the day, we had good quality shows, and only good quality shows on cable, and then you let them watch the Harry and the Hendersons television series.
Well, that's an argument that I've always refuted when people are like, "Oh, movies used to be good. Movies used to be good. TV shows used to be good. Now they release a bunch of garbage." It's like, no, they still released a lot of garbage. It's just you only remember the good ones. You've totally forgotten about the bad ones. That's the problem. So I digress.
Anytime, and it's been a while since I've had some old fogey trying to pass this on me, but be like, oh man, back in the 60s and 70s, that's when music really meant something. That you had a lot of feeling. And then like I show them the lyrics to The Joker by who's that Fly Like an Eagle MFer? Steve Miller Band.
I was like, it's not John Cougar, that's not the guy.
No.
But there's really not a lot to that song.
Or like I play them like Love Will Keep Us Together by the Captain and Sunil.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, buddy, listen to this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it didn't because they got divorced. But I digress.
They got divorced. Yeah.
It's true.
It was a loveless marriage.
What a great example too. I forgot about that. And also I totally forgotten there was an Omen series too. I remember it now that you say it, but I forgot that they tried to do that. So I was gonna say Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
And I want to say because I don't think anybody from the movie was in it at all.
Not a single person.
Jennifer Aniston was in the Ferris Bueller TV series though.
Yeah.
And let's see who else. I can't remember, but Charlie Slatterer was was Ferris, and he ended up did a lot of acting, but ended up doing a lot of voiceover work. So he did okay. But more along the lines of your example of an 80s movie being turned into a late 80s TV show that people forgot about. There was a Dirty Dancing TV series as well.
Yeah.
If y'all remember this too.
No.
I think they made like 13 episodes, and I think maybe it kind of like Clerks, they probably didn't even air the last one or something like that somewhere along the way. And Time of My Life was the theme song and everything. And
really?
They went all out for the theme song on that, only for it to not really go anywhere, not really do anything.
Was it shot at the same resort campground?
You know what? I don't know. I know that Baby was played by the lady that would go on to play Michael's on-again, off-again girlfriend in The Office.
Oh God, white lady.
Jan?
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah.
Jan.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember seeing that series, at least an episode.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me look at the I know there's a lot of Office fans like yelling at me right now, and I cannot think of her name. For the life of me at the moment. I'm looking for it.
Grant,
Jan.
please.
Jan. She was Jan. That's right. So, anyway.
She was also in she was in a Lambada movie. There was a couple of those canon style sleazy dance movies that came out in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And she was in one of those.
Oh, yeah.
The
well,
dancer.
it would have made sense that she was in that, being that she was in the Dirty Dancing TV series.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, you had a thought?
I just thought of one more thing that needs to be thrown into the pile.
All right.
And I don't know if many people, I mean, all of these, we can say that we don't know if many people remember this, but like I think even like big fans of Mel Brooks will only be tangentially familiar with this, and if they are, they want to forget about it.
Okay.
The Spaceballs series.
Did they do a series, or did they do some kind of like animated thing?
It was G4 did an animated series, and it is just which it was produced by Mel Brooks, or executively produced by Mel Brooks. Maybe
that means like you got a credit because you created all the characters. Yeah.
It is. I mean, you don't have John Candy. You don't have any of the original actors. I think Mel Brooks actually might voice his character, but it is just the worst early to mid. I know I was harping on how great pre-meme humor was just 30 minutes ago, but it was the worst. Like, oh, this character's smoking weed, and oh, this character's got a boner,
right?
And like, it's all really bad. There's no actual setup or punchline. It's just everybody is just doing uncharacteristically bad things, and I guess 11-year-olds got a good laugh at that, the ones who were allowed to watch it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Brandon. I'm gonna have to correct something you said. Dom DeLuise did reprise his role as Pizza the Hut in the show.
No,
I'm looking at it right now.
No, Dom, no. Oh, dude, if he needed the money, hey, good man, get that bag.
I don't know if he did. Yeah, well, here's the thing. It looks like he died a couple months after the last episode aired. So I don't know. Yeah.
Imagine having that as like the
thing you went out on. Well, at least he didn't go out on Munchie. Okay, there's a lot of things he could have gone out on, and Munchie was not it.
I also just remembered that I was gonna do a little thing called Tell a Lie this episode and convince you two that there was a Joanna Man TV series.
I would believe it. I would believe it. I would too. I mean, I have the internet in front of me right now, so like,
look, the Joanna Man cinematic universe is underrated. You have so many timeless characters, lore that goes so deep. You have graphic novels, you have drama CDs, you have so much. You have video game tie-ins. The Joanna Man cinematic universe goes deep.
Yeah. It goes a lot further than you might think it goes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to say too, we mentioned Daniel Radcliffe in the last episode. We actually used him in the thumbnail, and our friend Claire Deadfield said the name of the play was Equus, EQUUS.
Talk about the one where he had his doink out.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. She said Daniel Radcliffe asked Gary Oldman for advice about being naked on stage. For some reason,
Brandon, when you said he had his doink out with the horse, I thought you said he was standing next to a horse with his doink out, which is what you said. I thought you were talking about the horse. Talking about I was like, well, you can't control
the horse
that.
too.
Yeah. They were both.
And then Moonbeam Googled it, and she went, "Oh my god!"
I didn't Google it, but I will now.
Look, but like both of them boys were hanging hog.
Yeah. As they said in "It's Always Sunny," dude hangs dong.
Yeah,
it's true. But I am interested to see what the Humble Fam thinks about like TV series that were launched off of movies that people have mostly forgotten about. I think that's very interesting. Also worth mentioning too, animated series too. I like that as well. They did it. There was a Bill and Ted animated series.
Yeah.
There was a Back to the Future animated series as well.
Yep.
That I remember enjoying as a kid. So
there was a Toxic Avenger animated series.
Yes, there was. It was great. It was a very self-aware show. Like they made it, it was very tongue-in-cheek on the superhero genre, which was really cool at the time. Did not see a lot of cartoon shows that would do that sort of thing, especially not at that time. So that was really good. I do have a bit of trivia for us to play.
Trivia.
We are. Oh, by the way, it's worth mentioning as well. As we're recording this today, they just announced that Donald Sutherland died.
Yeah, I saw that.
Best known as being Kiefer Sutherland's dad. No, I'm kidding. No, a very, very, very accomplished actor in his own right. Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. What's that?
Yeah.
I said from Don't Look Now and The Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. Yeah. Lots of really great things. Lots of great things. No, so it's the end of the month, and one of the things I like to do towards the end of the month is play a game where we try to guess actors with June birthdays based on just a few credits from their known for section of their IMDb. So these are things that like their name is associated with these right here. And so what I'll do is I'll give you 3 from the known for section of their IMDb page, and whoever calls out the name of the actor first will get a point, and then person with the most points at the end will win, of course. So we're going to kind of start off a little soft here on this one. The first one is a movie called Super Bad, Juno, and
Michael Cera.
Yes, it is Michael Cera. Yeah. Although I'm surprised Arrested Development was not in the top 4.
That is
the other ones were Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
They wanted movies. So.
Yeah, but they'll put TV shows in here, you know. Yeah, so these are the June actors here. Next up is Kinsey, The A-Team, and Schindler's List.
Not Mr. T.
It is not Mr. T. Oh, sorry. The A-Team, the movie, 2010 version of the A-Team.
So not Mr. T.
Yeah. No, definitely not Mr. T. Kinsey, the A-Team. What's that?
Liam Neeson.
It is Liam Neeson, yes. Point for Moonbeam. 1-1 for y'all here. I like this. All right.
I saw a clip from, what's the film that he was in the early 90s? Was it Nightman or Darkman?
Darkman, yeah. Darkman. I recommend watching Darkman.
I need to see that because I saw the clip of him playing the game at the carnival, and I need to see the rest of it.
Oh yeah, it's good. I recommend Darkman. A Raimi joint, if you will. All right. Next up, we have X2, X-Men United, Troy, and Adaptation. That's a tougher one.
Not Nicolas Cage.
X2.
Colin Firth.
Oh, it's not Colin Firth. I like where you went with it, but it's not him. I will add, since neither of you seem to have it, I will add Succession to that, which is a TV show.
Wait, maybe I got the last name wrong. Is it Colin Farrell?
No.
Okay.
Is it what's that guy's name? It's not the main character in Succession, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it Adam? What's his name? Adam something.
Nope.
Adam Scott.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. You're thinking of. Oh, I think you're seeing. No, he's like the patriarch in Succession.
Chances are I'm not even thinking of the right show.
Yeah, his name is Brian Cox. That is the
my boy.
Brandon's cousin. His great uncle. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
If you would have said Manhunter.
Oh yeah, but Manhunter's not on the list. No, you would have gotten it off Manhunter. Yes, but
I'm surprised that The Ringer is not higher up there.
Yeah, wow, shocker.
If you would have said The Ring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that man was in The Ring and The Ringer.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
How does he get away with that? Yeah. All right.
Cox.
Let's see. Let's do this one. All right. This person was in Sin City, Sudden Death. That's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And Tombstone. Problem is, there's a lot of people in Tombstone.
Yeah, there's like
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's a great movie.
Val Kilmer.
It's not Val Kilmer.
Was he even in Sin City?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. You're gonna be mad when I tell you.
Probably.
Sin City, Sudden Death, Tombstone. Just name people that were in Tombstone now.
Okay. The guy with the teeth, Michael Biehn.
It's not Michael Biehn.
Yeah, he wasn't in Sin City.
Met him once before. He did not care for the movie Pig with Nicolas Cage, is what he told me.
Huh.
He had just watched it the night before. All right.
Let's try again.
All right. Okay. Also, the Avengers. I don't think that's going to help anybody. That is Powers Booth.
I don't even know who that is.
I have the villain in Tombstone. You, if you see his face, you're like, oh, I know that guy. He plays, a bad older man, a bad rich man in a lot of things too, like like a senator or like something like that. In Sin City, he's like a corrupt senator. Okay, let's try this one. Iron Man 3, Serial Mom, and Spaceballs. I'll give you a hint. This person plays themselves in Serial Mom and Iron Man 3.
Oh, Susan some no.
Nope.
Never mind.
Nope.
John Waters.
Nope.
I wasn't even paying attention. Okay. It plays themselves in Serial Mom and what else?
Iron Man 3, and they were also in Spaceballs, but playing a character that's not themselves in Spaceballs.
Wait, shoot.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna feel stupid.
Now you just got look. Now just name people that were in Spaceballs.
Mel Brooks.
No, not Mel Brooks.
He was in Spaceballs.
He was in Spaceballs, but that's not.
I'm trying to think of who played themselves, but in Serial Mom.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I think I know. It's been a while since I've seen Serial Mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's been a while since I've seen it as well. It's worth a rewatch.
Was it a main character in Spaceballs?
No. Oh, like part of the group, part of like the main hero group. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Was it Joan? It wasn't Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers is correct. Moonbeam 2-1.
Are you
nice.
serious?
It's Joan Rivers. Yeah.
I don't remember Joan Rivers being in Serial Mom.
I mean, she was probably just like on TV at one point. You know what I mean? Like doing her show.
She was Dot Matrix.
Yeah, she was Dot Matrix. Yeah. You know what's funny? I showed Margot Honey, I Shrunk the Kids for the first time the other day.
Yeah.
Which holds up. Still a fun movie. And Rick Moranis comes on screen and I'm like, hey, do you recognize him? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, he's in Ghostbusters. And she's like, because she loves Ghostbusters. And she goes, yeah, I feel like he's in Spaceballs. I was just like, yeah, actually, you're correct. He is in Spaceballs.
Have you shown Margot Little Shop of Horrors?
No, I need to though at some point in time. There's a list of things that we are working through, you know, but she's into, she likes movies. She's good with it. So it's a lot of fun to like show her things that we watched, you know, as kids. Cause she's into it a lot. Yeah. Most of the time she's into it. She really liked Back to the Future. Okay. Excuse me. This next one here was in The Core, Hustle and Flow, and The New Guy.
Oh, that's going to be DJ Qualls.
Yeah, it is. I don't know who said it first, though. I might
have to go back to the tape.
Might have to go back to the tape. You tell me, Humble Fam, who you think said it first. I want to know.
Tell me who you think DJ Qualls is.
Yeah. DJ Qualls, who we just worked with back in March. His panel was so much fun. I would love to do that again. That was a good time.
His podcast is
it is fun. His yeah, and you know what? Guess what? You know who's made an appearance on that show?
Who has?
Me and Brandon.
Heck yeah.
Did you know that, Brendan? Did I tell you that?
I at first I was like, oh man, were we on this? And I was just out of my mind.
Yeah.
But I remember like it was the thing about the daiquiris. The daiquiris,
right? Yeah. Their podcast is called Locked and Probably Loaded with DJ and Kelly. And yeah, there's an episode where they do play our clip where we explain to the world you know, the loose liquor laws here in Louisiana. Yeah, if they think you're not drinking and driving, they'll pull you over. So
yeah,
it's rough sometimes. It is. I'm gonna give each of you a point for that one here. I don't know. We might just end up in a tie because this one was intended to be the tiebreaker. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll pull another one out of my hat here. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna prepare to pull another one just in case we need it. Because I do have one more written here, and I want to go ahead and use it. I don't want to leave it on the table. I think it's, you know, a fun one. So I'm going to go ahead and say this person was in The Producers, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and Young Frankenstein.
Gene Wilder.
No, Brooks.
It is Gene Wilder. Yes. Yes. Moonbeam taking the game. Nicely done. I think Brandon took it last week, I believe.
I think so, maybe.
You have to remind me. Let's go back to the tape. Go back and watch the last episode.
Rewind it.
Go back and listen to the last episode. Rewind it. Put it in the rewind it. Remember how, like, if the rewind function was broken on your VCR, there was a special rewinder machine you could have? Or, like, you know, they would, like, video rental stores would, like, have a rewind machine.
We had them at the movie gallery.
Yeah, exactly. But you could buy them off the shelf, too, and just have them.
All they did was rewind.
That was it. Just one little thing. You know, it was big business at the time, really big business. But it's amazing how just how short of a period of time in human history that video rental stores actually existed, right?
Yeah.
I think let's see, when did Blockbuster first opened?
It was like 81 or so.
Yeah.
Was it that early?
85, it says. First store opened in 85. And I mean, of course, Blockbuster probably wasn't the very first one ever, but
no.
I mean, I'm positive it wasn't, but still, like, that was around the time that it was happening. And you could rent videos from the grocery store. And now, not so much. Not so much anymore. They've been making movies way before and now way after. So really strange, really weird to think about. You know, it's like we talk about, like, oh, how could we have survived without the movie rental store at the time? And yet, you know, they barely even existed, really. So anyway, just a funny thought I have sometimes.
In the grand scheme of things.
The grand scheme of things, yeah, you know, it was always going to be this way. Well, I really want to know, Humble Fam, what you think of when you think of a TV series based on a movie that didn't really take off. Leave that in the comments below on YouTube. Leave it on our socials. I want to hear from you all out there. And of course,
guys, from the Humble Fam to everybody, thoughts and prayers to Justin Timberlake. Let's hope they give that turkey the chair.
He got in trouble. Look, I just want to say this.
Wait, was he? Did he get a DUI? Is that what it was?
He got a DUI, and they also found like 17 like chemicals in him, or like 17 like
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just want to say this before we go, then, because let's talk about it. Because like, here's the thing: Justin Timberlake is 43 years old, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say this definitively. I'm not anti-Justin Timberlake. I'm not a huge Justin Timberlake fan. I just am aware of him. But I don't think you start driving under the influence at 43 years old.
No.
Meaning that the evidence would suggest to me that he's been doing this for a while and has just been getting away with it. And it finally took a Gen Z cop who didn't know who he was to bring him in on it, because there's like a whole thing. Have you haven't heard about this movie?
Well, I've been seeing his mugshot, but
okay.
Like I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like. I just I feel like I saw like a DUI something. I haven't looked into it. I'm guessing at this point. This is
okay. Look, I just want to put this in here. I'm going to read this to you because this is what's going around right now. I'm reading this from people.com at the moment. The cop didn't know who he was at first, a source reportedly told the outlet. Justin said under his breath, "This is going to ruin the tour." Then the cop replied, "What tour?" And Justin said, "The world tour." I'm sorry, but I'm really amused by it.
God.
Is he on tour with his old band?
No, I don't think so.
No,
that would have been bigger news.
You think so?
What tour? The world tour. And the cop was just like, "Okay, whatever, dude."
He probably thought he was some sort of terrorist.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
Yeah.
World tour.
How did you phrase it? Like he was just like making it until now, or like he was passing by until now, or how'd you phrase it?
Well, I mean, he was just getting away with it. You know what I mean? Like people were just letting him off because he was being, whatever. And I'm not saying that he was getting pulled over once a month or something like that, but it stands to reason, man. You didn't just start driving under the influence, and this couldn't have been the first time you've been pulled over for it. That's all I'm saying. Is
Grant,
I'm not saying this definitively. I'm not saying he's drinking and driving every night. I'm just saying this is what the evidence suggests to me.
Grant, I sincerely feel like getting away with it is that boy's entire career.
True enough. True enough.
He was a funky, fresh white boy, beatboxing and in sync.
Yeah.
And then he had his first solo album, which had some songs that Michael Jackson passed up on it. The Lonely Island, invited him along with some comedic escapades, and that combined with the music, you're like, oh, hey, this Justin Timberlake guy, he's all right. It's now time to pay the piper, Justin.
It's a shame.
It's now time to pay the piper.
Although I will say, pop star Don't Stop, Never Stopping, kind of this amalgam of a story of Justin Bieber and NSYNC and Justin Timberlake and Beastie Boys in a way, is a pretty funny movie. I've only seen it once, but I remember laughing at it a lot. But R.I.P. to Justin Timberlake. He's not dead. He's just going through a rough time right now.
But for when he dies,
which hopefully is far into the future. Okay, he's only 43.
This episode don't air for another week. What if it happened? What if we were just ahead of the time? Yeah, because we do record these most of the time, not always, but most of the time ahead of the time. And I think maybe every week we should just say R.I.P. to another celebrity. Just in case something happens, because you never know.
Wishing you a long, healthy life and recovery, Justin Timberlake.
Right, of course.
I'm gonna stick with what I originally said. I hope they give him the chair.
Well, with that, everybody, look, we're gonna go ahead and go away now. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Go ahead and drop a like on this wherever you are, and give us a rating wherever you are. And we'll be back for another visit next week here on the Humble Show. But until then, stay humble.